Guys, how are we going? Jamie here from Oztech Drones. We're back in the office today. Now, this video, we've had quite a fair few guys stuck. Do I get in the industry? Do I don't get in the industry? So we just thought, righto, let's put it out there. You know, a lot of people probably won't tell you this sort of stuff, especially a lot of sales guys. I think that's why, you know, we sell quite a fair few, because we're honest up front. We just get to the point. We try our best to, you know, tell everything of how it is. Especially I know when we're training our new sales guys, we really push that to them now. Just say it right the first time. If it can't do that, doesn't do that, you may as well just stick with that. So we'll just get straight off the bat. Pretty much, there's a few things that we're going to go through. You know, what to buy. You know, is it suited for your location? Insurances. What to charge. You know, all that sort of stuff. So this is really, you know, not so much, I guess, if you own a farm, more, I guess, for the contractor sort of guys. You know, I'm sure there's farmers watching this. You know, a lot of our sort of sales come from these sort of videos. So guys, if you are a farmer, yeah, obviously some things will help you in this sort of instance. Otherwise, a lot of this sort of stuff is probably more focused, you know, to your sort of contracting sort of guys. Righto, so the first one we're going to start with is what to buy. So it's a big question. I know when I first got in the industry, so we've been in this industry for about 5 years now. So when we first started, you know, drones weren't even, you know, spray drones weren't even around. Well, they just started to come into the market. There was a fair few, you know, home built sort of systems. You know, not what they are today. I know when we first got in, we started with one brand. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter what brand you go with. I know we sell one brand, but we use both brands, to be honest. It honestly does not matter what brand you go with. Each brand, there is probably two main brands everyone knows in Australia. Each brand has its, you know, good points, bad points. Both brands now we're finding are coming closer in, you know, what's good and what's bad. You know, 2 years ago, one brand had one thing where the other one wouldn't want to touch it. Now they're very similar sort of systems. So it really depends on, you know, what is suited to your location, what is suited to, you know, if you already run one brand for some of your commercial stuff, you know, you can stick with that. You know, there's horror stories in both brands. We've dealt with both. There's good points and bad points in both brands. It's not like one brand is better than the other, to be honest. And we use both out in the field now. And to be honest, they're both, you know, have their good and bad points. So yeah, obviously there's two brands. You know, you've got your XAG ones, you've got your DJI ones. So DJI's top drone at the moment is the T40. Great machine. Personally, have been using that a little bit. Great machine, very user-friendly in that sort of circumstance. So a massive big controller that is great for you know, a lot of your manual sort of spraying, especially the guys that like to have something in front of them, a big screen, so they can see what they're doing pretty much. I know when we found that camera, you know, on the front is a great sort of, you know, they're a camera company. Of course, they're going to have a good camera on their spray drones, so they're really focused on that. Or they focus on a lot of things. I'm sure I can't say heaps about it, but yeah, they're in my opinion, they're a good drone. And then you have its main competitor, which is XAG. So their top drone at the moment is the P100 or P100 Pro. Both great machines. That's our main sort of what we use out on the field. They've come a long way in the last few years, 100%. Same with DJI. I know when we first started 5 years ago, DJI's basic model, yeah, it was basic pretty much. Nowadays, you've got very automated, a lot more user-friendly, definitely. Especially XAG in the last few months have brought out a lot of new controllers, a lot of new operating systems, and yeah, we're finding them very user-friendly to what they used to be a few years ago, that's for sure. So yeah, honestly, it's up to you what you want to buy. I'm not going to tell you to buy one thing. It all depends on pretty much what you feel like, to be honest. Now, guys, the next thing we want to focus on is location. So location is a huge thing we find in, successful spray drone businesses. Obviously, we've sold quite a few to guys in the middle of cities, whether it's Sydney, Melbourne, those sort of places. They do well. The only thing you got to think about is you've got to drive to, most of your money will be out on the crops, if that makes sense. So, when we rock up, we might do 1,000 hectares. So that's where you make your money. Whereas we find in cities, you have to drive an hour, 2 hours sometimes to get to those sort of crops. So, guys in the wheat belt, where we are up north a bit more towards, the cane country, your broadacre guys down south or southwest sort of guys, they're doing large areas and, their businesses are becoming very successful because of that. Obviously, you can buy to what your area suits. So I probably wouldn't go buy the biggest drone if you're in the middle of the city, just because, you're not going to be doing huge areas every day. You're not going to, you're going to be picking up little council jobs here and there. That's what we found, over the years with guys that have bought from the city. It's a bit harder for them to gain traction on the bigger jobs. You might pick up a council, but you think about it, council's not going to get you in every time, every week or, continuously like some of these big farms. You're not going to pick up those huge, big contracts unless you might be able to get into mining and those sort of things. But you just got to remember you will have to travel for those sort of jobs. So we're pretty lucky where we are because, literally our workshops here, a kilometre down the road, we have our biggest contract pretty much. So we're pretty lucky where we are. I know there's a few guys in the forestry that those sort of things, if you get those contracts as well, they're not too bad. You've just got to remember also you will have to travel for that sort of work as well. So yeah, location is a big one we've found in successful sort of setups. Obviously, I wouldn't be buying the biggest spray drone if you're in Sydney CBD pretty much. You can start small, maybe surveying, maybe thermal inspections, maybe those sort of things might be suited to you. But, if you want to give it a crack, go for it. I'm not going to tell you not to buy one, but it's just something to think about pretty much. So guys, what I want to go over now is, I think some people are a bit rude to ask, or we get asked quite a fair bit, but some are a bit hesitant. It's what to charge. Now, you've got to remember, these drones, they're not going to be around for, when you purchase a drone, you're not going to have it for 10 years, okay? It's not a tractor. In 10 years' time, yeah, it'll probably be still going, but there'll be 10 other drones that have just come out. So it'll be a lot, there'll be newer ones out, they'll be a lot more efficient. So that's a big thing. I know some guys are hard, they take that a bit hard sometimes. You just buy a $60,000 drone, a year later it's worth, half the price or less. So that's a pretty big thing that you've got to factor in. It's not too bad for your farmer guys that use it all the time, and you're going to get your money back quite quickly. But I know for guys starting out contracting, it is a bit hard to get that money back quite quickly. We normally bet on, we upgrade our drones every year. That's our sort of that's what we sort of turn around every year. We upgrade our drones. So we've got to aim to get our drone's value back to that drone within the first few months. That's normally what we aim for, and normally we do. So we normally, have that drone, it's paid for itself within the first few months. But for someone starting out, that's a bit hard because obviously you don't have the contracts there, you don't have, continuous everyday workload. So it's something definitely to think about. You've got to remember these drones, a new one comes out nearly every year. So, in a year's time, people aren't going to want to buy a second-hand drone. They'd rather buy a newer one with the newest, a lot quicker, a lot more efficient, those sort of things. So it's definitely something you've got to think about when you're going into the drone, when you're going into purchase one. Are you going to have a lot of work lined up for it, and those sort of things? Definitely, once you get the work, they're very easy to pay off, and that's why we charge what we charge. So our base rate, we work on about $250 an hour. So that's a lot of operators work on that sort of rate. So that's a good base sort of line. And then it comes back to our hectare rates. So, we might charge anywhere from $40 to $80 a hectare. It all depends on the customer. It depends on if it's gas, mine, a little farmer, a big corporation farm. Depends on the workload that they give you as well. So, the more work they give you, we give them a better rate. So it's all that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, that's definitely something to think about. That's a lot of guys take that to heart sometimes when, they ring up and say, oh, look, or want to, upgrade to a new drone, what will you give us for our older drone? And yeah, they paid 60 grand for it a year ago, but now it might only be worth 30 grand, 20 grand, so it's definitely something to, these are like iPhones. A new one comes out every year. So it doesn't matter what brand, a new one comes out. So it's definitely something to think about. So guys, another big thing is having the support and parts behind you. It's a huge thing. And we see time after time, someone will buy from a camera shop or something like that doesn't have the background knowledge. Yeah, they know how to, use the drone, but they don't know how to use it in the agricultural industry. More than half of what you do with these drones is working out spray sizes, spray rates, droplet sizes, swath widths, everything like that. So that's a huge thing. I know we get calls every single day, like no joke, every single day of people that have bought from, someone that sells camera drones, and now they're getting into the ag drones, completely different. There are a few good companies out there that only specialize in ag drones, and I would definitely go and see them. So yeah, that is a big thing that I recommend. There's a lot of operators that also sell. I know, some of the brands, it's not hard to become a dealer. It's very easy. So, there's a lot of dealers out there that, they know what they sell pretty much. So definitely when you're going to look at buying a drone, definitely buy from someone that is using them full time. That's my definite, that's what we recommend. And that's why a lot of guys buy from, people like us, because we use them every day. We know I get calls every hour. Oh, how do I do this? Something like that. I'll be, well, our guys out in the field, this is what they do. So it's definitely having that background knowledge that really helps everything. So that's definitely a big thing. Also, the spare parts. Make sure the person you buy off knows or has a good spare parts department, because that can really wreck your operation quite quickly. If it has to go back to China to get fixed or something like that, a lot of guys buy, cheap sort of drones off Alibaba. As soon as something breaks, you'll be down for weeks, if not months. And we've been in that situation when we first started, and it's not fun. You have customers ringing you up constantly. Why aren't you here? We've got this work. They end up going somewhere else, or they getting, do it themselves, or with another form of technique. So it's definitely having spare parts. There's a few companies out there now. XAG have a big warehouse in Sydney now that's full of drones, full of every spare part. Nothing goes back to China pretty much. So that's a big selling ticket for them. DJI also have the D1 store. They have a few other, CR Kennedy and those sort of places. They really they specialise in a lot of their parts as well. So that's definitely something to really look into when buying a drone. There's a few cheaper ones out there that, you definitely will get caught out pretty much. That's what I can say. People think, oh yeah, no, it won't break. It will break eventually. It doesn't matter the brand, something will happen. It's a machine. Every farmer knows that's watching this. You buy a John Deere, it's going to break. It's bound to happen. The conditions that these drones go through, it's definitely going to happen. So guys, another one to think about is insurance. You've got, pretty much not just insurance, hidden costs. Like that's a pretty big one that, people think when they get, spend $60,000, that's all there is, It's not really the case. Like you have your insurance, which can, be from $5,000 up, depending on how many drones you have. Also, if you have your drift liability, your drift coverage, your, all that sort of stuff. So really, it depends on everything, like there's a lot of hidden costs that people don't understand. There's a few different insurance companies out there that are really helpful. We use BMG Aviation. They're really good. Precision, I think it's Precision Ag or Precision Aviation. They're really good as well. We have a few customers that go through them. And a lot of farmers also, they use their own brokers and, they can add it to their own farm sort of insurance as well. So that's definitely, you definitely want insurance. that's pretty much like, yeah, it doesn't matter what you use, you definitely want to insure it, because if you have $60,000 flying in the air and, you know, a bird hits it, for instance, that's quite a lot of money to fall down out of the sky. So you really want to insure it. That's a big thing. Obviously, you've also got your CASA fees as well. It's not really huge sort of fees. It depends obviously where you live. If you're flying near a controlled airspace, that's something you're definitely going to have to add on to your fees, because you have to apply for CASA every time you do that. You've also got, you know, your if you have employees and those sort of things, we come under the aviation sort of workers' comp, so that's quite expensive on those sort of things. But yeah, you have, you know, it's something to think about, you know, like you will have extra expenses on those sort of things as well. We better go over some good stuff as well, eh? We have been going over a lot of, it's like I'm trying to talk you out of it. So guys, there is some good things, there are a lot of good things about these drones. Obviously, you can make some money, pretty much. That's what a lot of guys do this for. You can make some money buying these drones, or you can save a lot of money. If you're a farmer, we have a lot of farms now that are literally, they were up to buy a new sprayer, might cost $600,000, $800,000 sprayer. They've bought a few drones instead. They can cover the area nearly just as quick, and they can spray whenever they want. They don't have to wait till it dries out, those sort of things. So we're finding that huge at the moment. A lot of big farmers are doing that. Also, obviously, it's good work. Like, you're out in the field most days. It's fun. I enjoy it. Our workers enjoy it. They always tell us how, you know, they love being outdoors. And it's really fun in, you know, interacting with this new technology, seeing how it's evolving so quick, seeing all this new stuff. You know, seeing how these drones are getting better and better and better each year. Like it's good fun, really. I really enjoy it. And we deal with a lot of, you know, we deal with a lot of farmers that are easygoing blokes. You know, they're good to deal with. That's a really big thing for us as well. You know, dealing with people every day that we enjoy working with, pretty much. So yeah, this is pretty much, you know, going over the whole thing. You know, we just wanted to make a video. We get asked, you know, every day, you know, does it work for me? Is it suited for me? So this is just a bit of a rundown sort of thing. So you can see, righto, this is something I want to pursue. I want to get in, you know, I want to get into this industry, or you're a farmer looking at this saying, righto, well, let's give it a crack. Let's put it on our farms. You know, we sell quite a fair few now to farmers that, you know, see them not as toys. They see them as pretty much like a tractor, you know. They use a tractor every day. They use a drone every day. They cover some serious hectares. Like, I'm talking thousands of hectares in a week, you know, with a few drones. And they love them. Like, they ring us up all the time saying, you know, we're really enjoying this technology, you know. And, you know, 5 years ago, that drones were considered a toy, and to a lot of people they still are. So we're really finding in the last few years, definitely people, like, you know, they're a tool. How you use them is up to you, obviously. So yeah, they're really enjoying those sort of things. So yeah, I think this will do. We'll go through another few videos as well in the coming few weeks. We've got a fair few questions that people have asked us that we want to try and put into these videos to make it easier for you guys. So yeah, thank you. I'll catch you.